a lot of her internal organs were all messed up and had to be sewn back together. I don't know all the things that happened to her as far as internally. I can't remember that, but I heard someone say that she had a 50-50 chance to live. Sometimes they tell you 50-50, it's kind of to encourage you a little bit more, even when it looks really grim. But you know what? It's the power of prayer that really, I feel, that brought her back. Because why would she hear a voice talk to her, Dolores, it's time for you to get up and take care of the kids? Isn't that a very interesting message, very peculiar? And I was just a little kid praying for my mother. So the power of prayer is something that can be used for your life. What are you going through? What do you need help with? Because I was just a little boy with all my heart, I was praying to a tear in my eye. And it's because of that faith that I had, knowing that Jesus could answer that prayer. You know, it says in the Bible that we're supposed to come to God as a child. And of course I was a child, coming to God with full faith, that knowing that He can deliver my mom from her situation, that He could heal her. And it was a voice that woke her up. Whether that was God's voice or Jesus' voice or an angel's voice, that I don't know. But it was something from God, either way, from the power of His glory that brought her back. I'm going to tell you about two other instances about the power of prayer. When I was in my teenage years, about 17 years old, I went to the dentist because of a toothache. And I went to two dentists. The first dentist told me that I had many root canals. I needed root canal surgery. And that my family would probably end up going broke with how many root canal surgeries I needed. My girlfriend at the time worked as a receptionist at another dentist's office, and we went to his dentist. And he looked at two of my teeth and said, after looking at the film, I had two teeth that needed to be extracted. So, looking at it, knowing that I've never had an extraction before, and I haven't been to the dentist in many years, the dentist said, well, let's go ahead and extract the one that looks a little easier to do because it's not as deep. We're going to do that one first, and then we'll come back and do the other one. So, as we're there, he opened up the tooth and saw that it needed to be extracted. So he said, yep, I'm right, it needs to be extracted. So he took it out. And then the dentist left the room and says, okay, let's go ahead and have a little break here, and I'll come back and extract the other one. Well, as I was there in the dentist chair, I was feeling really sad. Thinking that, wow, I'm just 17 years old, I'm losing my teeth. So I prayed, and I said, Lord, if there's anything you can do to save this other tooth. I know that this other tooth is deeper. And he took out the easy one, but Lord, if you're willing, would you do what you can to save this tooth? And I remember having a tear in my eye on that occasion as well, because I was feeling pretty depressed about it. So the dentist comes back in, goes, all right, let's go ahead and extract this tooth. So as he's cleaning things up, he's looking at the tooth, just digging down in there. He said, huh, that's weird. He looks back at the film, at the x-ray, and says, huh, that's a deeper tooth. But he's looking at it and says, I think I could save this tooth. So anyway, he cleans it up, gives it a filling. He says, yeah, we can save this tooth. We're going to put a little antibiotic in there, and we're going to fill it on up. So the dentist goes ahead and brings back the dental hygienist into the room and have her as well look at the film with him for her second opinion, because he can't believe what he has seen. It showed on the x-ray film that the filling in this, that the cavity in this tooth on this side was much, much deeper than the cavity on this side. And so, as we're both looking at it, They both came to agreement that they were looking at the x-ray correctly, and they can't comprehend why. And they looked at two sets of x-rays. They can't comprehend why this tooth can be saved and this one couldn't. Then I said to the dentist, I said, well, while you walked away, I prayed. Now, being a man of science, he was a little baffled. He didn't have any response to say back to me. He may not have been a Christian, I don't know. But he was baffled and he was silent, because he didn't have any words to say otherwise. It was the power of prayer. God heard my voice and knew what I was going through. And God healed that tooth, so that way I wouldn't go home depressed. So that way I can go home knowing that God hears my voice, that God knows that I am one of his sheep, and God cares, and God loves me. So he healed me in that instance. I'm going to tell you about a third time. One thing about me is I'm a mobile DJ. I've been DJing for over 20 years. And one night, on one of my DJ events, I forgot my amplifier. It was a rainy night. And that night, I was driving, I was actually my girlfriend at the time, I was driving her vehicle. And when I was coming out the exit ramp, going the speed limit of 25 miles per hour, the car still slipped. It slipped down the embankment. I had lost control of the vehicle. I tried turning the steering wheel different ways, could not regain control. And I see this huge oak tree in the distance, and as the car is going at the force that it was, I was sure that there was going to be an impact. At that moment I started to pray, and I saw my life. I saw all the years within this matter of seconds. In my mind, it was like this video of all the things that have happened to me. My whole life passed in front of me, thinking that I was going to hit that tree. And in my mind I was thinking I was going to die. I said a very simple prayer. And all I can get out was, Jesus, please help me. That's all I can get out. Because you see, that car accident that I was almost about ready to have was going to happen within just a matter of seconds. The car miraculously stopped about 5 inches away from hitting that tree. I looked at the tree, I looked at the branches, and I thought, how did this car stop at the force that I was sliding down the embankment? I for sure thought, being in that car and at the force that I was going at, the speed I was going at, that I would have hit that tree. But it was the power of prayer to Jesus in a time in a crisis when I asked for his help, that he delivered me from that situation. And I remember that day I made one little other prayer. So I was looking, how am I going to get back up onto this exit ramp without getting hit? So I said, Jesus, if you can help me out one more time, help me get up this exit ramp at the perfect time so I don't get hit by someone coming up. So I went out in faith and I drove the car, and there wasn't any other cars coming down the exit ramp at that time. So I was able to get back up onto the road, and I drove home, got my amplifier, drove back to my DJ event, and did the event. It was the power of prayer that got me through that time. These are 3 of my testimonies on how Jesus will hear your prayers and give you a favorable outcome. Of course, I've made many other prayers in my life, and perhaps I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. Still, we're going to go through life with struggles. We're still going to go through life with health issues, different ailments. We're going to go through life with financial issues. And sometimes we don't always get the answer that we're looking for. But sometimes God answers us in a different way for His glory. I guess I could look at my present situation. This year, 2013, has been a terrible year financially for me. I currently work 3 part-time jobs to make ends meet. I have, relationship-wise, gone through a separation and going through divorce. It's not that I wish to have any of this stuff happen to me, but it's just what has happened. And God has humbled me. God has put me in a place. I currently live in a very small apartment. The only one that I could find in Montgomery County that's in a nice, safe environment. As you see, I have a little girl, and one of the jobs as a father is to protect her. So I wanted to make sure that we lived in an area that was safe. See, God may have answered my prayer as coming up here to where I'm living. I live in Damascus, Maryland currently. I was trying to find a place, for under $1,000. The apartment I was living at was over $1,300. So I found this little apartment for $925 a month. And we're making do here. Live a little further away from my daughter and her mother. Not too far. It's a little bit, it can be a little inconvenient at times, but still within distance for me to drive. But anyway, God sometimes will put you in a humble place. Sometimes we look at our materialistic possessions, and what happens when we lose them? We lose a house. We lose a car. Don't quite have enough money to buy that expensive pair of jeans or shoes that we used to buy. Well, God sometimes humbles us for His purpose. A couple years ago, I was thinking about wanting to serve the Lord. And I thought that, hey, maybe I could be a pastor, but I need some money to be able to serve Him. So I was working for a gold buyer full-time, not making the kind enough money that I needed to survive, but I was thinking if I did it myself, if I started my own business, then maybe I can make a little bit more money, and I'd have enough to take care of my family, and then also maybe I'd have enough to start my own ministry. Well, I went out with my plans, thinking that, hey, I know the gold business, thinking that I can do this, and I can make myself better myself by doing my own business. I concentrated daily on the numbers, on how to buy gold. I even had